Hey, everybody. On today's show, we discuss loss. Death and suicide is a topic that comes up. That is not a topic that you enjoyed listening to, that you want to be a part of. This episode's not for you. That's okay. Do not listen on, and we look forward to catching you on the next episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome to I've Been There, Brother, the show about the things that we all face we don't talk about. But, man, if we did, bring us together. That's William. My name's Keith. Happy that you're here today.
Is it recording?
William, yeah, good morning to you too. Talk to me about this fucking shaker bottle that automatically blends for you.
Well, it's convenient because then I can walk away from it. I can fill it up with whatever I need. And here, I'll show you. I've got like 3 of them because they're all different colors. So it's a Volt RX. And the base comes off, and the base like has like a... Well, it's just here.
It even has lights.
There's actually a stainless steel version that a friend of mine has.
That is loud as shit. I just see that, and I think to myself, William is super into fitness. Lost all this weight. You run. You're a cyclist now. And you can't even shake your own fucking bottle.
I've got too many things to do, so I gotta be efficient with my time. So I get all the things in it, push the button, and I walk away, and I come back, and it's all good to go.
What's an opening to I've Been There, Brother, if we're not giving each other a little bit of shit? Good morning.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well, hey, speaking of cycling, I went for a 12-mile bike ride this morning. We already got 12 miles in today.
Do you have a tail light on your bike?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Like a flashing one.
Be careful.
And a headlight. Yeah. And I wear my running vest, which blinks like crazy. Okay. And it's like bright yellow. But
so, how do you like being a cyclist so far? How's your crotch?
Crotch is fine, actually. I got these padded shorts. Everything's comfy.
Yeah, padded shorts. Get the right seat. Yeah, don't worry. There's gonna be a moment.
It was a little sore today after the 20 the other day, but I will say, like, I also want to get my heart rate up more. I feel like, but my legs were.
You're just on the flatlands out there in Minnesota.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to push it.
It was
pretty hard.
cold this morning.
Hey, so the big thing in cycling is doing a century ride, doing 100 miles, one whack. So when are you gonna do your first one?
I was actually thinking about that because we were talking about a trip and all that stuff, and I'm like, gosh. I gotta do more than 20. And then Steve mentioned that he's a 50-mile rider often.
Oh, okay.
So
here's what I'll tell you. As a person who used to be a cyclist, so I used to do 24-hour solo stuff. I think the most I ever did alone on a road bike in 24 hours was 301 miles. Actually, not I think, I know. That's exactly how you tend to remember those things. Mm. And so I've done a ton of centuries. I used to do one every Monday in the summer, and 20 miles is good. And then you go out and you're like, sick. Okay, I can do 20 miles. And you go out and you'll do 40, and you're like, okay, that was a little harder, but that was pretty good. There's this magical point somewhere between 40 and 100 to where it goes from manageable to kind of feel like I'm going to die a little bit.
I mean, I can see that.
You just hit this wall. I always found it to be that way. Like, yeah, you're getting tired and things, and then bam, you bonk. You hit the wall because
what speed do you normally go?
I'm going to tell you right now, don't get too hung up on that.
I was going what was comfortable.
Go what's comfortable. Go with your conversational pace.
That sounds like
you're going to get super obsessed, and you're going to be like, oh, I averaged 22 miles an hour for 20 miles. That would be good, by the way. That's legit.
Way behind now.
Okay, but
I did that for 5.
Are you going uphill? Are you going uphill? Are you going into the wind? Wait till you fuck up on that, and you go out and you think you're fucking Lance Armstrong, and you go out 10 miles, and then you turn around and you realize that the wind was at your back the whole time?
No, dude, that was... So my first ride, I went out to my buddies on gravel because I have, gravel tires or whatever it is. Gravel bike, quote unquote.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm cruising. And I'm going out and I'm telling him, first of all, in Minnesota, it's softened up. And so all the frost is coming out. So gravel itself
Yeah.
there's a couple spots that are really bad. I'm cruising. I'm like a mile out of town and I'm just getting pounded with like 20-mile-an-hour wind. And I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid. Like, why am I'm going to turn around and sail back into town. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. He was 11 miles away from me. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I got there and I told him I can't wait to go home. And I guess, well, the wind decided to switch a little bit direction. So as much as I was pumped to go home, I got the wind for a good portion of the last 11, but a good amount of it was a crosswind, and that screwed me again. So
the old wind shift.
But no, I think it's fun. It's fun. It's definitely fun.
Good.
And I can rest a little bit when I want to take a break, but I don't know. This morning was really cool because it's, we're in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota and it was cold and I should have wore warmer gloves and probably another layer, but I was out in the middle of the country, pitch black out there besides my headlamp and my tail light, and it was quiet. I didn't listen to anything. I was just sitting there and the stars were out. Oh, dude,
It's pretty good.
It's different than running because I can sit there and stop and just actually enjoy it as we're still moving. Like we're running. If I just stop running, I'm done. Like I'm toast. But
yeah. Well, let's see. I was in the cycling industry from 1998 until 18 months ago. I sold my bikes, and now I'm thinking about getting a road bike, maybe a gravel bike. So, hey, if any bicycle manufacturers are out there listening, hey, I'm open to sponsorships. Let's go. All brands welcome. Okay. So on a serious note, we are talking about, like everything was really fun, what we just talked about, but let's, we're talking about loss and death. And, we had caught up on the phone a couple of days ago about this topic. So I think maybe we just dive in. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. In the past year, I have had two people that at points in my life I was close with. Like we hadn't spoken in a handful of years in each case, and in one case longer. Because, we've talked about that, how friendships and things like that and family and you drift, but that doesn't mean that you don't care about the person. And those two people have committed suicide in the last year. And, I've had a lot of death in my life, and we can talk about that. That's what we're here to talk about today, how you handle that. But dude, suicide's a new one. That, like I said, 2 in the last year, and then I think there's been maybe 1 other in my life. So I don't know, maybe 3 is a lot, but I don't know. I just have such fucking mixed emotions. And honestly, I'm just pissed. And so there you go. There's the open on that one. Have you experienced that?
I mean, I had mentioned that like there's someone that's distant family member of mine through my uncle that had a situation in the last year where he took his own life as well. And I don't know. I feel like 1 is too many,
Yeah.
And you've had more than 1 that you know of, whether it's family or friends or anything like that. I've known people, I guess, but never like close. And this person I've known for quite a while. And, you hear different things. I think you hear like struggles maybe they had over time, things they were dealing with. We talked about, like alcohol quite a bit here and how much that might affect things,
Yeah, one of them,
it's,
I know one was, at least in the past, had some struggles with alcohol.
Yeah, and whether it was like a use of something to take their own life, or it was dependency and their body just shut down. I think about myself and how much I drank, and I wasn't doing it on purpose. And I've said that openly. Like, I think I was just actively killing myself in a way. And I think about how, like we can shift our mind and get out of that. And at the same time, it took help, it took people and all that. But I don't know. I think to just, I can't understand actually taking. I don't know. I'm not trying to discount. It's hard. It's a
I
tough
don't
topic.
on one hand, I don't want to discount. Clearly, they were going through stuff, but
Yeah,
obviously,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
so like I don't want to discount that, and I don't want to be disrespectful. And on the other hand, I go, what the fuck? Like
yeah,
you have family. They both had kids. Um, they were both married, and you're like, you fucking kidding me?
yep.
Oh,
I think towards that,
like,
like we.
and I
Go
don't
ahead.
feel like, and then that makes me go, I don't feel bad for them, but I feel
Yeah,
fucking terrible for their family and the poor person who had to find them. And now you have to deal with that. And, like you're leaving, who knows? I don't know why they did what they did on that personal of a level, but you just, in a broader sense, you think of like, you're running away from these problems, but you're just leaving everyone who cares about you with those
yeah,
fucking problems and more
yeah,
now.
yeah. And even like when people, and I was talking to my wife a little bit about this as we were kind of talking about what we were going to discuss, and I think about the loss of even people that don't take their own life and leave that same sudden impact. Like how effective that was. Like my dad, well, one morning I'm talking to him, the next morning I'm not, and I to think about the impact that had on me, where
Yeah.
on my side of things, it feels that same sudden effect where I was mad in different ways, but I just like the impact of what that ripple felt like, and now for someone to choose to just do that to the people that
Yeah.
might that might have love for them, that might have care for
So
them,
your
like
your
all of
dad
it.
died suddenly, right? Heart attack?
Yeah, instantly. Yep.
Dude, how'd you handle that? Like what did you
I
feel whenever
I
that
mean,
happened
I
to you?
was, I think I mentioned this, but like my initial thought was like how he raised me is like fight or flight. Like, so it's like my mind, I was really unsure how to handle it. There was a lot of emotion, but I'm like, okay, well, because at the time I was living in California, it's like, how am I going to get home? How am I going to see everybody? What are we going to do? We had Liam at the time. And, and then when you get home, there's just tons of emotion and you're almost consoling everyone else. You're spending all this time because people, oh, he was so young. It's like, yeah, tell me about it. Like, I'm still trying to process this and all these other people that were affected by it, that whether they knew him personally or not, it seemed like they did. Um,
Hmm.
you hear everybody as well say like, call me if you need me, call me and it's like you don't
Yeah.
hear from any of them, and I'm sure they mean well, and I mean
Well, people don't know
good
what else to
things.
say.
No, and it's like at the same time, sometimes silence is enough, I think. Um,
You
but
know, whenever let's see, well, it doesn't matter how old I was. I was working at the bike shop. In the wintertime, we would sell Bowflex machines
oh
and treadmills.
yeah,
And we were delivering one. we had a delivery set up, and it was for whatever night. Doesn't matter what night it was. In like 2 days, maybe 3 days before, I saw in the newspaper that a local teen to where we were delivering, it was like a town or two over, had died in a car accident. I think a couple teenagers died in a car accident. And then the next day, so the day or two before the delivery, the person that we were delivering to called and said, "Hey, I need to delay this by a week or whatever." And in that moment, I was like, "Dude, I bet that was that guy's daughter who died in a
oh
car
no
crash." And
way,
so but they still wanted it. They didn't say it was
yeah,
them. And we show up for the delivery, and they had like all the memorial photos and everything. It was his daughter. And I remember as we were pulling up, I was talking to my boss, and I was like, "Man, what if like do we say something?" And he was like, "If they bring it up, we'll discuss it with them if they bring it up. But if they don't bring it up, don't bring it up, because this might be the 30-minute window out of their entire
yep,
month where they don't have to think about it and no one brings it up to them. And
yeah,
that peace and distraction might be the best part of their month." And that always stuck with me. That
yeah,
and you saying that made me think of that sometimes just space is the way to go.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
I was just like thinking about all of it. Like I like how people might feel in certain situations, how I felt. You know, you've had, like you said, loss, and I think that as well like shapes a lot of who we are like today. You know, I drank for almost 8 years straight after my dad passed, and he was a non-alcoholic since he was 17, and that was something he prided himself on, and that's what I turned to during a lot of
Yeah.
that. You know, and I don't know,
Yeah.
it changes people, but
Did you experience a lot of death before your father?
not a lot. No, I mean I've had some here and there, grandparents here and there
Yeah.
before. Well, one grandparent at the time, I should say, my grandma, and that was fine, you know, and different loss here and there throughout it. But um, you know, you bring up the girl in passing, and when I was in high school, there was a kid that was just a little bit younger than me that passed away unexpectedly from a heart condition, and it wasn't like we were close. I
Yeah.
knew him growing up quite a bit, but like I remember that affecting me like quite a bit, like just because it was probably someone that was close to my age that
Yeah.
you know was super healthy. I probably don't. I don't. It's not like it wore on me a lot, but it's definitely when you're young and you lose someone like that, like it's interesting how much that can maybe affect what you do or how you think about things, loss and all of that. But
Yeah. You know, I've gone through a lot of deaths in my life, and I think that it's 100% shaped how I view life and think. And so I remember the first death. I don't know, like I'm not going to sit here and list.
yeah,
You know, like I think about high school, and yeah, there was like one or two kids who passed away while I was in high school who were in high school, and I knew them, but they weren't friends. So, like we'll leave kind of those away. And then
yep,
obviously as you age and everything, like your grandparents die, right? So like I remember the first time I was maybe 6 and my great grandfather died. I can't say that had much of an impact. Like I remember it.
hmm
But the first big one was, my mom. My mom passed away whenever I was 8. She was in a car accident. I'd never met her, and I was getting ready to meet her for the first time, and she passed away. I remember that I remember being told by my mom and dad, my grandparents that I called mom and dad, right? And
yeah.
like I remember that one, and I remember just losing it and feeling like it was my fault. I don't know why I thought it was my fault, but I remember that. And then just, you know, losing my grandfather, losing my dad. Man, I had a couple friends pass away from various things. One was a car accident, one was some drugs, and like totally changed how I view life. I don't think in a negative way. Well,
Yeah.
maybe there for a bit, but and so I just can't imagine like the shock of like whenever it happened, like whenever my mom died in a car accident, that was like that was sudden. That was very traumatic. It was traumatic in a different way. I think because I was young and because it was sudden than like my dad passing away from cancer, because that was a 18-month process. That was a different type of hard to watch.
Well, and especially when you're seeing it, like, because with your mom, wasn't that the first time you were going to meet her? Period.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She lived down in Florida. I lived in Illinois. She I never met her, but everything I've been told is like she had a drug problem. I know that so whenever I was born, her and my dad got divorced. I think they were married for like a year, a little longer than it takes to conceive a child. And her boyfriend abused me, and he beat me and like broke my leg. And so like that's how my dad ended up getting like custody. He had to get joint custody with his parents of me so that she couldn't see
Mm.
me while she got her shit together. And so she was doing all that, and then yeah, 7, 8 years later I was gonna meet her.
Hmm.
Wasn't wearing a seatbelt. She's coming home from work, lost control of the car, thrown out of the window, died.
Wow.
Wear your
Hmm.
seatbelt.
Yeah. I don't always do that.
You should wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Cynthia
I
would
should.
thank you.
Huh?
Cynthia would thank you. That was my mom's name.
Okay.
But wear your seatbelt.
Yeah, my wife would probably appreciate that if I did that more.
Yeah, dude, it's not worth it. Like, why not?
Yeah, it's like wearing a helmet on a bike now.
Yeah.
It's weird to wear. I never used to wear a helmet, but now that I'm like riding on the road, it's like I'm wearing a helmet and lights
Hmm.
and flashing
Just, yeah.
things.
Yeah. It's kind of nice being alive.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about the other day when we got off the phone how much I appreciate my life now. We talk about how people have maybe drank themselves to a point of death and or drugs or all these things that we've done pretty heavily. And I don't know. I think the last couple of days I've really realized it's not just from that conversation, but it's interesting that it's kind of all kind of in this moment. Like when I was on that 20-mile bike ride, I texted my wife because she sent me a picture because it said on her thing because we share our location, and she said it thinks you're driving, you're going so fast and I'm like, well, I don't feel like I'm going fast because I'm going on gravel, the wind's against me, and I'm thinking to myself, man, here I am on an afternoon choosing to bike what I would know is going to be at least 20 miles, and I can do this and all these things, and I'm thinking, man, what a waste I did for 7, 8 years. And this is just myself reflecting on things where I was basically killing any relationship that I had with my family. And that sounds morbid, but believe it was a really dark time. And I told her, I go, man, I don't know why I screwed around for so long because it's so fucking nice to be alive. It's so nice to be able to choose to do this, to put my body through this, to be able to do this, to feel alive. And I can't imagine now making decisions that would be the opposite of that. And that, like, I think about, I can't put myself in a position where people would, decide to actually take their life. Like, how far does that have to go that you're in a point where there's no return?
Have you ever thought about it?
I've never thought about doing it myself. No, I've probably come close to where I've gone to bed to a point where I wasn't sure, where I was super drunk. I think I can think back to times where I'm like, oh, well, if I don't wake up, if that makes sense. It's not like I was thinking about doing it, but I was probably in a really dark place where I was 380 pounds, didn't feel like there was anywhere out of it. And, I couldn't stop drinking, couldn't stop eating. And it'd probably be a lot less dark if I wasn't around,
Mm-hmm.
And wow, that is crazy to say out loud. So I guess I have. Yeah, I guess
In a
I
way.
have. Yeah. Holy crap. That is something to say. I don't like living like that though now, and that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I just love living. I love
Yeah.
my kids, and I love my siblings. I love my nieces and nephews, and I'm fortunate. We've talked about that. Like I come from a family with a lot of connection. So I guess now that I say that out loud, like, man, I can't believe I probably was living like that for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And if I felt that, can I imagine what my wife felt, what my people around me, you know? Wow.
There's been a few times that I want to say it crossed my mind. Like I can think of probably whenever I was about 19, and then a little later in life, both around a major amount of loss in just change in my life. And I don't want to say that I don't feel I was suicidal. I didn't. I don't feel like I contemplated it, but I thought like what would happen. Like it's almost hard to explain. Of like should I think about thinking about it? I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense, And I'm like,
Yep.
no. And so I would say, no, I've never been to that point. However, to like what you were saying, I can definitely look back and say with certainty that I knew I was killing myself in a very slow way with drinking, because I would be drinking and I remember, we talked about this previously. Like I'd be listening to a certain song, or there'd be this
Hmm.
moment, and I would be like, "Oh man, I'm not going to be alive to experience that part. Like I know I'm not going to be alive that long," and I knew that that was very likely by my own hand because of how I was not taking care of myself in the choices that I was making. And on one hand, that would make me really sad. And on the other hand, I didn't care. And I was like, well, maybe I'll I don't know. It was so weird of like being so deep in like that addiction that you just like, you don't care. And that's the closest I can relate to being in that situation. And knowing how I felt in there and not caring, that's where I have this just fucking torn feeling over
Mm.
these two guys of, on one hand, I go, I have not been there, brother.
Yeah.
I have skirted against I got across the street from the parking lot of the
Yeah.
stadium that you were playing the professional sport in, like very removed. And so you're like, fuck, man, that would be really hard if I felt that way in that moment. And obviously, what were they going through? And then the other hand, dude, where I just go, fuck you.
Yep.
Like, because it's like what happened to everybody else because you fucking did that. And I
Hmm.
know that not everyone's going to love to hear that. But you know what? That's fucking reality. That's like that. That's how I feel. And I know I'm not alone because we've talked. I've talked to other people. And you're like, dude, I'm fucking pissed. And
Yep.
I can, and then I'm not even, I haven't even talked to him in years and I feel that way. And I feel so fucking bad for their families and what they, and like, if I'm this removed from the situation and I feel this fucking torn, how do you feel being that close to it?
Like you're like as a kid of that person,
Fucking kid.
like, dude, and if I had kid, like
Like
if
straight up like kids, young
yeah,
fucking kids. And
I'd be
not 2 years old to where you don't know what's
flipping
going on.
livid.
Like you
Yeah.
know what's going on and you're not
I
an adult. Like,
That to me is what's crazy is like, first of all, you've chosen to create life for one, and now you're choosing to just leave them. That I can't understand that. And that, like, when I'm saying what I said earlier, like, it's not like I was like I'm here. Like I didn't choose to leave. I was slowly doing things to not make myself better, but now it's taken years to change that. But like in an instant to decide the opposite, like that's a low moment. Like, and I was never clearly I was never there, and I'm not, I don't know what that like on like as a family member of people like that I could not imagine the amount of emotion like I would feel inadequate. I would feel like I wasn't enough, and like I wasn't enough to be around, and I was maybe. Then you start like you had said about your mom, like how much do you feel like maybe you affected that? Like you start thinking that and what that does emotionally for them outside of, oh,
yeah.
we weren't enough, but at the same time, maybe I was too much. What was I doing wrong? And the
Yeah.
amount of emotional turmoil that could be affecting family, kids, friends. Gosh, I don't know. Because then you look at like people, like parents, and in an instant didn't have a choice and their life is gone, and that was so effective. And like there's community members that I've seen it affect them heavily and change their entire lives. And like there are people no longer here because they had family members that are no longer around. And I
Yeah.
just, you
It's
spend so
just a
much
shitty
time
situation.
it is, man. It sucks.
There's resources out there, and I think that if anyone's gone through that, they should They should use those
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just, I don't know, it's the impact that you leave behind. You know, um, I think losing a grandparent that was like a parent, and then my two biological parents by the time I was, 16, 17. I think, I lived through that time of there wasn't like this big downward spiral for me that came from that and how I handled it emotionally, but it definitely like nothing good came from it. And I'm not saying like good things should come from people dying. That's not what I mean by that statement. But here's what I do mean is you can I think you can find what I realize is that you can find some positive in those. So right, so like what did I learn from my folks dying? A couple things. One, I have made it a point to not use it as an excuse because I've seen other people kind of use that as an excuse, like fuck, dude, like this fucking happened, and fucking this is fucking bullshit, and they just kind of use it as like this blanket that they have around them that limits them from doing stuff,
Oh, I
whether
did.
it's or
Like I'm
like
a prime
mentally,
example of that.
mentally.
Mm-hmm.
I have probably not always, but I would say now for a majority of my life, I'm like, fuck that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's no different. Like, this happens to all of us. If we're just talking about general
Everybody.
death, right? Guess what? We all die. So the
Yep.
reframing that I did, maybe in my early 20s, maybe mid 20s, was I have experienced things that a lot of people I know haven't, but they will experience it too. I just got a lifetime of death put into the first
Mm.
21 years of my life. I'm no different than anybody else. We're all going to have this. I just got it out of the way earlier. I experienced it earlier.
Yeah.
And other people are going to experience it later in life. And
Do
so
you feel do you feel like
that
that's
helped.
hardened you a little bit at this situation now?
I don't know if that mindset shift has hardened me, but I think that all of that loss, I mean, I could probably sit here and think of I've had cousins die in car
Mm.
accident, like people that I know. And, I don't know. I don't want to put a number on it. It's well past probably 10 to 15 that you're like,
Mm.
fuck, dude, how many times do I have to go to this funeral or be a pallbearer?
Yep.
And yeah, it has. It's not had great impacts on me.
Mm.
And I think that that's part of why I probably have a really hard time letting people in because a lot of people I mean, a majority of people that I've loved throughout the years, they're gone, and they weren't gone like normal. Oh, they lived to 85 and had a great life. I haven't had a whole lot of that
Hmm.
in my life. It's been car accidents. It's been cancer. And my dad died when he was 39. Like they haven't been this beautiful story of a full, fulfilling life.
Yeah.
So yes, but I do consciously work hard on okay, I may not be here tomorrow. And I used to really use that in a negative way and be I'm going to fucking die when I'm young. And, we've talked about that. Man, I think I've made a lot of progress in the last couple years, maybe 5 years, a little bit, 5 years of that doesn't have to be my story. That could happen. So I need to fucking make sure that I'm getting stuff done now
Yeah.
and living, just living better.
Yeah. And I think that also comes with I'm running and biking and lifting and all that stuff and the physical aspect of things. But I mean, when I was in El Salvador for my mission trip, we went to some big slide park thing. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but there was this huge swing drop thing that was like this whatever 50-foot drop that you just drop, the floor gets dropped out from below you, and nobody wanted to do it. And I'm like, well, shoot, I could do this now. When 2 years ago, I would have been past the weight limit, and I wouldn't have been able to. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about things like that, where it's like I just want to live life to the fullest now. Like I don't
Yeah.
say no to a lot of things that have to do with living. And it's something that comes to mind for me kind of with that is what I do with myself and how I've expressed my living now. I think about all the people that are like we had also mentioned, silently killing themselves and like are not dead, but in a lot of ways like are just coasting through life and are kind of dead, like walking zombies and don't care and I mean they're around us right now. Like even frankly I could think of people that are close to me that it's like I check in and like, hey, how can I help? Why are you doing okay? Because I know I was like that.
You do. I
And
mean, that's my biggest regret. You're talking about checking in with people. Like,
yeah,
I have two moments, and I don't have a lot of these in life, right? Because I think whatever you go through shapes you, and that helps you become all that, all that bullshit that I believe. But there's two moments that I would have changed, and it makes me think about like, and it's all in the things that we say, and
mm,
the one night, and the first one is, it was my grandfather that I called Dad. I remember the last time I saw him was in the hospital, and his wife was at my grandmother, who I called Mom. She was there, and my biological father was back in town because everyone knew that he was really sick, and he was going to take me home, and we're leaving. And so, right, my grandfather, I called him Dad because he was my dad, right? He raised me from the time I was 1.5.
mm,
But my biological father never knew that I called him Dad. He thought that I called him Grandpa. And
hmm
so I found myself in this position of leaving the hospital and wanting to say goodbye, Dad, but feeling too embarrassed to do it because my biological father was there. And so when we were left, I said, bye, Grandpa. And I never fucking called him. I never called him that.
yeah,
So I don't know, man. Those
yeah,
are the things that I would.
yeah. That's tough. Um,
I wish I could do that different.
yep.
And so it's all those little moments. And I think that's why, man, I try so hard with my kids and try to just always say, maybe that's why now I just fucking say what I think. Maybe that, like I am extremely honest and typically unfiltered. Maybe that's why I do. Cause
I think
I
that's
wit, like
important.
I remember the look on his face.
Yeah,
Not a great last memory.
yeah. Got to think though that he knows you better than anybody in that moment, and he knows what
Dude,
you are
he
doing.
knows. He
Yeah,
knows. And like it's fine. But, you hang on to those things.
he ain't thinking about that word. He's thinking about sitting in that stick shift vehicle,
Yeah.
teaching
Doing burnout.
his
Yeah.
son to drive.
Yeah. I don't think I can make it through the second one, so I'm going to leave that one. I can even make it through the first one. The second one's worse. So,
Yeah,
but it's all, it's just all like the little moments that I wish I would have stuck around and said the thing or spent the night or taken a fucking hour of my time. And man, I still hold on to those. And so whenever my mom passed away,
hmm
my grandmother, I called mom, whenever she passed away, a year and a half ago, we're coming up on 2 years in July. Whenever she was in assisted living, and so whenever I found out that she was pretty sick, I got on a plane. I flew back, and I spent half a day with her. That's all I spent as much time as I could with her, and then she passed away 5 days later. So but like, whenever I got that call, I was like, fuck, I don't want to spend $2,000 to get on a flight tomorrow to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a dick that was the first thing, but that was my first like just gut reaction. Like, fuck, do I have that money? And yeah, it's the best $2,000 I ever spent because I got to spend time with her and have that. And that played through my head like that story that I just shared. And so I don't know, man. I just, and I think about, I knew those were coming, and I just go back to if it happens suddenly, man, you don't have that chance. Yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah. I think I mentioned that like when my dad passed, it was the first day back for my wife at work after her maternity leave. Did I mention that to you?
No.
I used to talk to my
I don't
dad.
recall. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're
Wait.
good.
Yeah.
I used to talk to my dad every morning on the way to work.
Yes, I'm
Every
sorry.
single day.
I misheard you.
No, you're good.
Line,
And the one day that I
spinning.
didn't was the day that he passed, and
Yeah.
it's like, I think about like how we don't. You say that's probably why you're brutally honest now, or you're just super honest. And man, I just think about how we aren't honest enough. Like people are so worried about hurting feelings. People are so worried about every little word they say, and yet one word to you can be something that just sits on your heart forever. And it's like
I've hung on to that since 1997.
Yeah,
using grandpa instead of dad.
Yeah. That's so heavy. Like, and that'll always be there. Like I don't think that because we've talked about it now, like I think there's that's part of what shaped you. Like that's probably a big reason for you to be intentional with your kids now. It might be something that has no effect on the surface, but in the depths of Keith and it's like my kids. Like I can also see myself in my kids a lot. And this happened yesterday with one of my kids. There's a video that we've played that it's a family home video where my dad was recording me when I was probably 5 or 6. And I just learned to ride my bike and I wanted a kickstand and I didn't have a kickstand like my sisters. And you can see me talking to my dad and he's recording me, probably with a big old shoulder camera. And I can see, and in the video, you see me basically starting to cry and my dad just kind of joking with me. And I just really wanted a kickstand and I was just distraught because I didn't have this kickstand. And, I see my in that situation, Brooke played it yesterday and my middle kid, Calvin, he has these pair of shoes that he's had for a little while. And we've been talking about how they don't fit. And I, talking about emotions and how we're affecting people and actions. And I was frustrated with one of my other kids because he was talking back quite a bit. And I was mad about these shoes for some stupid reason. And I picked them up and I looked at my son, Calvin. I said, these are garbage. We are throwing these away. You're not wearing these anymore. And the way he looked at me when I just destroyed him with saying that about shoes. And I could see I literally can see the face that he gave me was the same face that I could see of myself in that video and just distraught. And he didn't want to, he was kind of emotional and getting emotional. And I just turned around to go walk into the other room and I stopped and I could feel like this just like, that wasn't right. And I turned around and the look he had on, like he was trying to hold back tears. And I just said, here, like that wasn't very nice. You want to come over here and let's talk? And immediately it just waterworks. And I don't want to leave those moments where in the past, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have cared. I would have kept going because you know what? I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about living. I didn't care about what people thought of me. I didn't care about anything. And now I'm like, you just never know. Like if it's my time, if it's my time tomorrow, like, or if life happens and something, I don't want that moment to be the last thing. Not that it was like, But I think I relate a lot of my life to that now. Of like, I'd rather have a memory of me jumping on a trampoline, of running around the block with the kids, of sending that message to that person or making that phone call, because I wish I could call my dad. I mean, I have videos of him singing on my phone that I listen to probably daily.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think about all those things, and going back to the people that you're talking, that of people taking their own lives, like the amount of control that we have and don't have, like, and yet you still decide to do that. It's such a tough. I can't. That's really
Look at
hard.
this. I've got every voicemail my mom left me
Yep.
from 2020 on.
Oh, dude, that's so cool. My grandpa, my mom's dad, Grandpa Ken, an old Texan. I have all of his voicemail. He was intentional on birthdays to always call, and I didn't always answer, and I wish I would have more. Because he just, it's the old Grandpa Ken here, and it's just I play those.
Funny.
Yeah, it's just
one of the bad things that comes from this though is you're talking about like you never know, and every time I'm with my kids, I think in there somewhere I'm like, oh, what if this is the last time that we talk? What if I die in an airplane crash on the way back home? And so I do put this, like, I don't think it's healthy. I think I kind of put that weight on that moment in my mind and try to make it this fucking thing that it's not. And that's hard.
one the emotion.
And it probably stresses them out. It's not just me, but like, what does that do to them? Because they can sense that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the emotion behind it. You probably show that on your sleeve. I'm sure I do. Like I said about my kid with the shoes, like I immediately saw that on him, and I was a different. Like it completely shifted my mindset, and I'm sure I went from being this hard, like you need to listen, nobody's listening, to this comforting person in a matter of an instant. And it's the same if you have a lot of emotion of this. Is this the last time? And you start really probably being someone you're not trying to be in that moment, and it takes away from the moment sometimes, I think.
I wish I would have learned more about my parents, because now that everyone's kind of going away around them, there's just a lot that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what we could say to listeners, even, and I know you're intentional about it, and I'm very intentional about call people. Like if someone's on your mind, they're on your mind for a reason. Take 5 minutes, shoot them a text, give them a phone call. I don't think people do that enough.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason people hit your heart for whatever reason. You should call them. Even if it's to say, hey, just checking in, hope you're doing well. Because first of all, you never know. Maybe they're going through something and there's a reason they're on your heart, or maybe you need that. Yeah. I don't think we talk enough to people.
I agree. I think so. I would also say that we are not experts on this.
No.
And if you are struggling with the type of thoughts that we have talked about today, you're definitely not alone. And there's help out there that you should seek. Just right, because it's not, I'm talking about one word from fucking 30 years ago. We're watching people deal with people they love leaving suddenly. I think it's not just about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. That's tough. That feels
Don't hold it in.
Yeah. Is that a wrap? I think that might be it for today.
Yep.
I think that you had a really good takeaway of just say the thing.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the fuck's going to happen this afternoon. Say the thing. Everybody, thanks for listening. Have Have a good week. Say this thing. Give someone a hug. Tell them you love them. Talk to you next time.